Do you want to talk about the election?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, it's just it just happened,
Yeah.
and I'm finally ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
It really bummed me out for a few days.
Right. Yeah.
That morning when we went to class, like I just read it,
Right.
and we went there, and man, I was rolling with the boys, and I had fucking nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, skill me, man. It's fine. It was,
yeah.
I just, well, it's funny. I was showing Pam my Facebook feed like the week before, and it was like liberal propaganda, but they were like really cheesy liberal memes about how stupid people are that are conservative, like,
Right. Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah.
It's still there. Like I might record it and stick it on this video.
Well, one thing I noticed was when I opened up my Instagram after the day after the election, all these Pierre Poilievre posts started popping up, like 4 days old, 8 days old, 11 days old. So I wasn't being shown these posts from his account until the election was done with. That was very strange. So one thing we know for sure is that Facebook and Instagram censors conservative content in Canada. So a lot of conservative content that you might see from the US doesn't get to Canada.
Yeah.
So, and when the government controls like that geo-locking or what is it called?
Geo-locking, I think is the correct term.
Yeah, geo-blocking or whatever it is. They can geo-block things and control what kind of content people see. I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster. Like you're not supposed to give government that much power over what kind of content you see, whether it's a conservative government or a liberal government. They shouldn't be able to see or control what the citizens see on the internet, because then it's just like, it's a slippery slope. And then we can see it in this election where almost all the content that you see, whether it's from on cable news or on the internet, has been censored in some way, right? So it's pretty gross. That's North Korean type stuff, right?
It is. And the thing that drives me crazy is that Zuckerberg just admitted this all happened in the States.
Yeah.
And then he's like, actually, I'm pretty cool. I got a gold chain. I do
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm an MMA fighter, you know? And it's like, okay. And then they do the same fucking thing in Canada.
Right.
The CBC, actually, the day it happened, I seen VOCM, the day of the election, was like, Kearney is super hard on Trump's tariffs. And it's like, that's their story.
Yeah.
Like, it's all bipartisan the whole time. Or partisan the whole time.
Yeah.
And if, like, I seen PBJ, what's his name?
PBJ?
It's like the PBJ.
Patrick Bet-David?
Yes.
PBD.
He was like, you can't blame Trump's tariffs and the Trump stuff on, Kearney getting in, but like he gave him something to use. And all these fucking boomers are like, Trump's Hitler and like all this crazy shit.
Well, they actually use a firm, the Liberal Party uses a firm in New York City. That's like a Democrat firm in New York City that was their main advisor for the election. So I believe Kearney's wife might work for that firm as well. Maybe I'm not sure on that. But their whole strategy was on the advice of American, political pundits, right? But it's so when they're saying it, that elbows up thing and stuff, it's just.
What is that? What is elbows up?
My understanding, it's like a fighting thing in hockey, maybe, that it's like you put your elbows up and I don't know, or elbows up, or you're checking somebody, your elbows are up and it's a dirty check or something, you're ready to fight.
Brilliant.
But I don't know, it doesn't land.
No. Well, it's like the whole time the Trudeau government was like, we don't have a culture here. We have to import culture.
Yeah.
The Canadian culture is one of all cultures.
Right.
And then they're like, we can't join the States because we have a culture here.
Yeah.
It's like, you motherfuckers just said we didn't.
Yeah.
You know, what, like, how are you getting votes?
My biggest gripe is not that it's a liberal or conservative government that is running the place. It's that the government's not held accountable for the corruption and they've found to be violating the law in multiple instances. You know, I know there's scandals where taxpayer money has been squandered, totals $1 trillion.
Jesus.
You know, when you think about that We Charity scandal, or you know, the 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 thing, the 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐾 app, which was which was a big, you know, money laundering scheme essentially. All those things, and then you're not even getting into the MPs that were on the China payroll.
Yeah.
That all got buried. So when you're not holding the government accountable with that, or a political party, like, what are we doing? Like, it's like, how, I don't understand how you can have any sense of like integrity and cast your vote towards a political party that has broken the law and has been obviously corrupt for a long time. You know, so that's the most frustrating thing about it, is the lack of accountability. So, and if the conservatives can't win this one, they're never going to win one.
Well, it's uphill. They own the media. They own social media.
Yeah.
And they control the propaganda from here on out.
Yeah.
And you got all these idiots. It's like, your kid, like my kids aren't going to be able to afford to buy a house the way things are going.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And it's like, in BC, out of country billionaires and corporations are buying property,
right,
and then leasing it out to Canadians.
Right.
It's like, cool. Like, what do you think the long term of that's going to be? Like,
it's
people don't own property anymore. Is that part of the plan?
The problem is that most people cast their vote on very thin knowledge of yeah. So I mean, they showed the polling, the exit polling of what was your number one reason for voting for a certain party, and the overwhelming majority of people age 50 and above said it was to be tough on Donald Trump. That was their number one thing. Like, that is so lame. That is so. It's so sad that like you think Trump is our biggest threat. It's so sad and pathetic how people can be manipulated like that. You know, like, a problem has been festering for a very long time, and it was well before Trump was ever an issue for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so my God, I mean, if you look at every measurable, whether it's quality of life, any metric that is shown to have like a positive impact on a country, it's all down.
Yeah.
Like, quality of life is down. Expenses are up. Crime is up. Gun violence is up, despite weird gun laws that they're trying to implement. You know,
hospital wait times are up.
Yeah, tell me that.
The amount of doctors are down.
Yeah.
It's and for 8 years we watched, you know, the country fall apart. The infrastructure has fallen apart. It can't support us all.
Yeah.
And people are like, he's going to be tough on Trump.
Yeah.
Let's give him another shot. It's like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. And like, people are so polarized that they can't, you know, if you have an issue with too much immigration, then you're immediately like either racist or xenophobic or something, right?
Yeah.
When we don't have the infrastructure to support people that are coming into our country, that's not sustainable. It's simple. It's as simple as that. We need to be able to have infrastructure, and at least have infrastructure that keeps up with the rate of growth in the country. So that's called just common sense.
Big time.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we were at the hospital there the other day, and I won't get into why we were there, but we ended up leaving without seeing a doctor because it went on and on and on and on. Had the initial tests done when we got there, and then we just rotted for the next like 7 hours, and it was just too uncomfortable to wait there.
Yeah.
So like that's and that happens all the time. I mean, and it happens to. I mean, it seemed like every time they would call a name for whoever was next, it was probably more than 50% of the time they'd call the name, nobody was there because people would just leave. So there's one poor guy there with some kind of infection, he was saying, and he just went there for some antibiotics, and he'd been there 12 hours at that point, still hadn't been seen. So that's not universal health care. I don't know what that is.
No, it isn't.
Right?
No, it's a third world healthcare. You go, it's filled with people. Some people are moaning. Some people are drunk. Some people are high.
Right.
And I've had 3 staph infections, and the third one I knew what it was. I went to the pharmacy because you can ask them. They can give you drugs for some things.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, I got a staph infection. Can I get antibiotics? Like, you got to see a doctor. I called my doctor. It was a month to wait.
Yeah.
To see him.
Yeah.
I went to the hospital. I was there for 6 hours, and I was like, it's a staph infection. I just need antibiotics. It doesn't matter. And then I waited 12 hours. So 2 a.m, to see somebody. And they were like, yep, staph infection. It's like, cool. He's like, here's your prescription, and it's not that serious, but it's fucking stupid. Like,
I was, I mean, I last year, I got a staph infection after a tournament that I was in. And seems like a time when a lot of guys get staph infections when you're, fighting guys from other gyms and whatever. But I went to the hospital, and I was like, same thing. Like when I contact my family doctor, I leave a message, and then I have to wait for them to call me back. And I haven't seen them in person since before COVID started,
Same,
so, so I went to the emergency, and I was there for 11 hours, I think. And I had to leave. I'm like, I have things to do. I just can't be here indefinitely. So, and then the next day I went to a walk-in clinic. First thing in the morning, I got lucky and was able to get seen that afternoon by a doctor at the walk-in clinic. But and when I got to Emerge, got there first thing in the morning, and there wasn't anybody there, but a staph infection is going to be deemed low risk or low priority.
Yeah.
But it's, I can't armchair quarterback the doctor's job because you don't know what the hell they're doing back there and how busy they are or what else they got going on. That's just not about the patients in the waiting room. But clearly, I mean,
I'm sure they're not happy.
Nobody at work is happy when they're overworked like that.
Yeah.
And they can't keep up with the things that are going on. I mean, in policing, it's terrible when you have calls stacked and you're going call to call to call. You don't even have a chance to write up calls, and you're just putting out little fires everywhere you go. And the quality of policing that you're giving the public is not good either, because you don't have time to really sit there at that call and problem solve completely when another 911 call comes in and you're triaging essentially priority calls, right? So, I mean, then that just leads to danger and stress and frustration and, and agitation.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to go see an agitated doctor or have an agitated police officer show up at their house. So, I mean, these are all issues that we have in Canada, and Donald Trump didn't cause those issues.
No.
So
I feel like I know who did. Well, it's wild. Like 6 years ago, like legal immigration was the thing that both people talked about because it makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like we only have so much money. We only have our infrastructure can hold so many people.
Right.
And then it's like open the gates. Well, we should really start vetting people. You're a racist.
Yeah, it became, it's part of a political religion, essentially, an ideology. So,
sure about the UK. The people are putting on Facebook, things about illegal immigration, and the police show up at their house.
Yeah,
some of them are going to prison.
Yeah,
yeah,
they arrest people for social media posts that can cause distress to others. So, I mean, like,
that's North Korean shit right there.
It's and a lot of places are going that way. I mean, and it wouldn't take much for Canada to go that way either. I really don't understand how they legally can prove that whoever's posting those things is posting them, because I mean that's the biggest challenge. Anytime you have a call as a police officer and it's an online threat of some sort, or somebody is it's actually said something criminal, like I'm going to kill you. Well, the number one issue is proving, okay, were they the person typing that threat? Even if it's coming from their account, you still have to be able to prove that they're the ones that are behind the words, because you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court, at least. So, if you were to log on to somebody else's social media account in the UK and just say something that is distressful to other people, you get that person arrested, right? You know what I mean? Like,
it's scary.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really, I don't know why people aren't more up in arms about that kind of stuff. It's really draconian stuff. It's you never want the government to have that much power. The type of people that want to get into government and climb the ranks, become politicians and whatnot, they're playing a big game. And the number one concern I have for liberal politicians in particular is that if you are a person that is a manipulative politician and you want to do anything you have to get ahead in that political world, it seems like you'd want to join whatever political party can really tap into the emotions of your base and latch on to these kind of hot button issues, make a big deal out of them. And when you generally don't really give a shit, like, do you truly give a shit about, whatever issue of the day is, or are you just doing that to manipulate people? And, I think like liberal people are like voters are like empathetic people, and they care about others. But at the same time, and, not to say that I'm not empathetic or I'm a conservative or a liberal, but I'm just anti-corruption and like criminal like behavior in government, pretty much. But you're going to be able to manipulate empathetic people easier than those that are not.
Yeah.
And I think you saw the same kind of thing going on 20 years ago when like the Republicans in the U.S. had the power, and you had the Bush Cheney people, and they really tapped into the evangelical Christians. I'm probably saying that word, and like that was a huge, powerful base to them. So when they lead into the anti-abortion stuff, then they're gonna really fire up their base and have them behind them, right? So those group of people back then seemed like it took the least amount of effort to manipulate and get votes from them, right?
Support our troops.
Yeah, exactly, right? So the polls have shifted, and it seems like the same thing is going on with the left, where they're just hunkered down with this ride or die ideology. And
it's scary because, like, empathetic people, that's great. Like, I'm an empathetic person myself. I'm sure you are as well. But when it becomes a cult where it's like, well, I'm an empathetic person, but it doesn't seem right that X, Y, or Z. They're like, well, you were a fucking worst person that you could possibly be. They're like, you're a fucking racist, sex. Like they throw out the things, and then you're on your back foot. Right. So you either have to shut the fuck up, or take a stand. And then if you were a politician, they're going to kill you in the, you know, with the media. Like everything you say is going to be picked apart, and they can other you in a super dangerous way where you're not a person anymore. You know, like the whole trucker protest, people are like, that was our January 6th and like all this crazy shit. And it's like a bunch of people that don't believe in science and who are racists. It's like they started the trucker protest with I can't remember the name of the not Inuit. Anyway, they had Native American drummers that kind of played to the start of it, you know, and it was just, they had like water guns and trampolines, no guns, you know, and they're blowing their horns. And they're like,
well, you know, with any large protest, you're going to have bad actors too, right? So there's definitely some bad apples in that trucker protest. And then that gets amplified and everybody gets grouped into like those type of people.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the like that whole 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 thing. I mean, RCMP seized an insane amount of firepower and body armor and all kinds of shit off of those guys.
What was that? The 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞?
Yeah, there was like this 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐞. They basically, there was a convoy of some kind. I'm kind of blanking on a lot of it, but they arrested some people that were involved with that and searched whatever they had, and they had like, you know, a stash of body armor and guns and stuff. Wow. Yeah. And you know, so like, what are you doing? Like, what are you guys doing bringing that shit to that protest? You know, like, but you know, it's also, I love guns, you know, I love tinkering with guns, building guns. You know, they're like Legos for men, you know, in my mind.
That's right.
You know, so like this here, I mean, it's very modular. Like you can buy a lot of parts for it and then upgrade it and play around with it and see what works best. And I just love the engineering behind guns. So when you get a bunch of people similar, like, it's, you know, you want to bring your shit and like show it off to people. Like, is that's what's going on, or like what is going on there, right? But also, you know, the government was found to have broken the law when they seized people's bank accounts, and they're not held accountable for that in this election. You know, it just goes on and on and on with these scandals that there was no accountability for. I don't understand why, like, as police, when people are blocking the road and they're protesting unlawfully, they don't have a permit for the protest. There's city bylaws to deal with that stuff, right? Like, you just can't block a road without a permit. So why is it that couldn't be dealt with in that way? Why was there these national kind of emergency acts? Why did that have to be implemented? It didn't make any sense.
No.
So you have people's bank accounts seized, and who carries cash anymore? So you get your bank account seized for donating to this convoy, and you might be going hungry that night, or for the week.
Yeah, like, your kids might not get their medication,
right?
Because you were like, "This is a worthy cause. Yeah. I will give you $20."
Yeah,
you know.
Like, if somebody's on the run from police for murder, you can't seize their bank account.
Wow,
you know?
I didn't know that. That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, you can't seize their bank account, and you know, like, there's no legal precedent for that. So I don't think people on the left understand how truly you know, authoritarian that is, right? So
they definitely won't admit it. You know,
no, because it seems like it's just about winning now. It's not about, you know, who's right or wrong.
It's my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's like picking a favorite manager.
Why are you trying to win? Like, do what's best for the country. Like when the country is doing bad economically, there's no bigger marker for how that's going to affect people overall than a bad economy. Like that's the number one thing that's going to destroy people's mental health, lead to homelessness, lack of jobs, all this kind of stuff. Crime will go up. You got to have a good economy to have a nice country. That's number one, because everything else is kind of that. Like that's like the foundation of a country, right? So when you fuck that up, like,
what are you voting for?
Right. Like, what do you think is going to happen now? It doesn't make sense to me, and Poilievre, he lost his own riding. There was 91 people registered running in his riding. 91
people registered.
Yeah. So, and I think it's like 25 grand to register and run.
I wonder how that happened.
That's the thing, right? But why isn't that talked about? Like in the other major candidates, they had like 4 or 5 people running in their ridings. Like, what is going on there, right? So when you have a guy that has, in Poilievre, that has garnered more votes for conservatives nationally for the first time for like 40 years, it's the most amount of votes. How does it make sense that he loses his own riding?
Man,
right? Like
91 people. I wonder where he was on the list.
But
Peter Poilievre, like,
Yeah, but I mean, it's all these little lawfare or warf, like like tactics that just causes confusion for people, right? So when I don't know, but you go in that riding, you see this giant list of people. Say you're elderly or whatever, and you get confused. It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
So there's lots of really disappointing things that I feel like happened in this election. That it's hard not to be pretty scared about the future of the country. I mean, we're lucky we have houses, right? People that own a house, I mean, you're not affected. You're still affected, but it doesn't hit you as hard as other people growing up in this country. I mean, the majority of young people voting were voting conservative. I mean, that's almost unheard of. Usually, the younger people are more liberal. So the young voted for change in the country, and the old said, "No, Trump is scary. Fuck you."
The worst thing is, now that they're in again, they can fortify their party even more, over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
They fucked Pierre. Yeah. It seems, allegedly, but 91 people is riding, pushed him out.
Yeah.
And like, I felt great last year because it seemed like it was going to be a wave of conservatives. And I would never have thought that I would hope for the conservatives to win. You know what I mean? Like, it never meant anything to me.
Yeah.
And now it's like, Jesus, we got these people hollowing out the middle class.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Yeah. Growing up, I never thought I'd be conservative. Like growing up through that, like I said, that Bush Cheney era where you have these forever wars and, but the corruption back then is just as obvious now as the corruption on the left side, but the left just doesn't see it, or they see it, they don't do shit.
No. Well, the CBC is not going to talk poorly about them.
Like I don't know, I think in Canada, I mean, you have major, like with regulations and whatnot, you have cable companies, you have grocery stores, what other big ones? Cable, telephone, grocery, whatever. But I mean, these industries hold major political influence.
Oh, absolutely.
So when and we pay more for our phone and cable than I think anywhere else in the world. I think Canada's like the highest place in the world where you pay for that kind of stuff. So when the politicians make it impossible for these smaller upstart, like, telephone or cable companies to get going, and everything is controlled by like these major players, there's incentive for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you think of like energy here, like there's one company, and there's just so much. There's so much to talk about. That is,
well, even like the mental health aspect, like especially if you're a man, because the whole message of the left has been like men should shut up and sit down, and like if you apply for a job, you have to put down your sex, your sexual preference, your race. It's like this is progressive to them,
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, you're too this and you're a man, so we're going to go in a more diverse direction, and it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with your sex, your race, and that is racist and sexist. It's like, but you're telling me that the history of my race and my sex is what you're judging me on. How is that not fucking sexist and racist?
Man, oh man.
Yeah, and it's
so
like,
backwards.
It is, and there's a big push where
the most interesting thing about somebody shouldn't be their sex and their race and their sexual proclivities.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Like that shouldn't be what defines people. I mean,
well, if you have a Chinese man and a white man in wheelchairs, they have more in common than they do with other people of their race.
It's true. I mean?
Yeah, it's like
they've had to learn to navigate life in a similar way that other people just can't relate to,
exactly.
And they can relate to each other. And
that's why racism's stupid. It's like it's based on the person and their experiences.
Yeah,
and like it's completely backwards. You know, and I can see people getting frustrated.
Yeah, because
like you just have to sit there and take it. You know, and if you say anything, they'll call you the worst shit that they can. It's we're in for a rough ride, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you never want you should never want the leader of your country to fail. You want them to do good so the country does good. But we don't know who this guy is. Came out of nowhere. So
England, wasn't it? He was like the president of the Bank of England or something.
Yeah, he was. He ran the Bank of England.
That place where they're arresting people for what they say. That's cool.
Yeah, so his resume looks good, but I mean, like an elitist banker. I mean, like if you had told me like the left would be all rah behind an elitist banker that jet sets around the world and has 3 different passports, and nobody really knows where he lives or seen his tax returns or where he even pays taxes. Nobody even knows where he pays his taxes. So, I mean, my God, allegedly he was Trudeau's like top advisor for the past 5 years for the economy, and
great.
Yeah, like okay, that
worked out really good,
right?
Thank you.
But like my biggest hope is that he kind of swindled the left and he's more of a businessman that wants to run a country like a business. Because I mean, it might sound like crass saying a country should be run like a business, but I mean, it really should. I mean, you're competing against other businesses, which are other countries in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's how that's how you get a good economy going. That's how everything else flourishes, right? So, like I said, it's like the foundation. So, but who knows? Nobody really knows what his true intentions are in that spot. It's pretty reckless, in my opinion, just to cast a vote for somebody like that. So you know,
especially the tariff thing. It's if a country is coming to you and they're like, we're going to make the cost of doing business higher. It's like, it seems like sitting down at the table and working something out is what you do. Right. And not be like, I'm going to be super tough on this fucking dude.
There's only 2 countries in the world that took that antagonist approach towards the U.S., and it was China and Canada.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there's a few advisors there too. So
yeah, well, I mean, like we know Carney was the head of Brookfield, management. We know that at least, and I mean, Polyev said it himself. I mean, he went to China and secured a $250 million loan there recently from China. So for his company, oh my God, his company moved from Canada to the U.S. to Bermuda, like what? Like, so he knows for sure that his business is going to function better in the U.S. than Canada. That's why they moved it. It's as simple as that. So you're electing that guy because he knows. He knows Canada's not the spot to run a successful business. And that business has its they have investments in a lot of different energy sources, oil and green energy and all that stuff. And I just don't understand how people can't see this for what it is and make a rational decision with their vote. But maybe that's just the way this place is now. I don't know. Maybe.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Well, you have all these people that want to feel smart, especially if they went to university.
Right.
All their buddies are liberals, and it's you don't want to seem like you're dumb because that is what's been put on top of like conservatism.
Yeah.
It's like, well, these people don't believe in science, and science doesn't work that way.
They have the monopoly on
science. They do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we have all the science.
Yeah.
So people are afraid to lose their friend group, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been, it's been rough on my friend group. I went to a bunch of my friends went to university and they're not interested in debating, so it's like they want to feel smart. They don't want to be on the wrong side of history.
Growing up, it seemed like, the liberals were the smart side of things, right? Yeah. Because of not to rehash it all, but I mean, like the conservatives were just, they were getting behind like things that didn't make sense, and so, but again, those polls have shifted. I don't know how somebody can see themselves as, an intelligent and thorough and rational person, given the totality of everything that this government has been shown incompetent or, capable of fucking up, and casting another vote for them. What is the major, I wonder, what is legitimately the best reason for voting for them? I mean, a lot of women will say like women's rights and whatnot, but the conservatives in Canada are fairly progressive on that, right? Yeah. So, I mean, they even have a memorandum of on abortion. They have no interest in changing abortion rights.
No, they never. They never talked about it.
Yeah, but if you talk to some people, they'll be like, "I'm scared to death that the conservatives get in, they're going to take my rights away."
Yeah,
and it's just not. That's not a thing here. So people get so they get so much of their media and stuff from the U.S. that they forget this is a different country, and and they get riled up and scared about the stuff going on in the U.S. And again, all that is they're seeing that through the lens of whatever media organization is essentially delivering this media to them. It's always with some kind of a slant or
fear factor. Everything's fear.
Oh man, like I mean, it was all fear. This campaign, right? Like Donald Trump is the literal devil incarnate, and we must defeat him at all costs.
Robert Kennedy Jr. or RFK Jr. He's like trying to make food healthier.
Yeah,
you know,
devil.
They're like, he's a piece of shit. It's like he's trying to remove poisons from food.
Yeah. Well, people think he's a kook because he has problems with vaccines, and his problems with vaccines are very nuanced. Mm-hmm. It's not that I've listened to him speak at length about it. It's not, and his kids are vaccinated. It's not that he doesn't believe in vaccines. There's certain chemicals and additives that are in vaccines that he has a problem with, and he thinks there has to be thorough testing on these things, and to ensure that they're safe for human consumption.
What a fucking piece of shit.
I mean, that is my understanding of how he understands these things and what his intentions are behind it. I mean, well, I don't know how, like, somebody that is like a rational person, unless they're just captured by ideology.
They're getting clips. Yeah. There's clips there. He's like, vaccines are bad. They're like, pariah.
Right.
Yeah. He was an environmental lawyer. He cleaned up
Hudson River.
Which was crazy.
Yeah.
He sued Monsanto for causing cancer.
Yeah. Dude, when I was growing up, Monsanto, Big Pharma, these were all like the enemies of the left.
Yeah.
Right.
War. Not anymore.
Yeah.
If you're not on board, you're the enemy.
Christ.
Yeah, what is going on? With the vaccine thing, he was speaking somewhere or doing a book signing or something, and this woman came up and she said, "Can you look into vaccines? My son has autism, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
And I remember years ago, they were like, autism vaccines. I'm like, just vaccinate your kids. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And then he had a bunch of mothers. They all band together, and he started to look into it. And the schedule of vaccines went from something like 20 to 70 or something like that.
In the U.S., it's much more intense in here.
Big time. Yeah. And that's how we got started. It wasn't like he doesn't have a dog in the fight. It's like, we should look into this.
Right.
And Elon Musk is the other one.
That's science.
It is science.
Looking into stuff.
Exactly. The science changes,
Yeah.
But, and like Elon Musk, he sold, I'm pretty sure, the most electric cars of all time, which is a staple of the left.
Yeah.
And because he's working with Trump.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to you.
Yeah.
It's like, perfect. He's a Nazi.
Yeah.
People are putting swastikas and Teslas. Crazy.
People gotta chill the fuck out, man.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Like, think for a second. Give it a second,
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. I was in my frustrated stance there while we were talking about this.
Well, it's good to, get it out. I mean, it's good to...
Well, that class we had...
It's good to have a moan about it,
That's right. Good to touch on it. Tell me about this beautiful beast right
This is a Benelli. It's a Benelli M4 semi-auto shotgun. So, are you available this week? You want to shoot it this week?
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I got it a fair bit of kit put on it, but yeah, it's a semi-auto shotgun, 12 gauge, legal in Canada, and for now. And anyways, it's a phenomenal gun. It's a staple of like the U.S. Marine Corps. They used it forever. They still use it, as far as I know. It's been through. It's probably the most tested shotgun. So
it must be pretty durable.
Super durable. It can go through tens of thousands of rounds without cleaning. It has this 𝐼𝐸 gas system that is like self-cleaning, apparently, allegedly. So the gas system essentially, when a projectile is fired off, the gas that's released cycles the action and regulates the gun. But yeah, it's a nice gun. Let's go over it. I got a light on it. And it'll come with a handguard that is just a regular handguard. It's not M-lock like this. I like having this kind of stuff so you can put attachments on it. This is a Midwest Industries M-lock handguard. Looks very nice on it. BCM grip. I love these grips. I have the flashlight in this position where you can, when you're holding the gun, you can just put your finger forward, turn on the flash.
Oh, that's cool.
Like that. So it's away enough for your hands so you're not accidentally bumping into that and activating the flashlight if you don't mean to.
The optic you have on it, I always thought with the shotgun, because of the kick, that it would be impossible to use an optic.
No.
I guess that's not the case.
No, not at all. No. So with this optic, you can just have both eyes open, and you can just see that reticle, and it's great. It has that. It's a primary arms ACSS. Is that? I think that's what it is. Yeah, ACSS. So the optic is like this circle with an arrow in the middle of it, and it'll give you a good idea of how far the buckshot will spread from whatever you're pointing it at. So its practical range is like 25 to 50 meters with buckshot. With slugs, I have slugs here as well. You can shoot those up to 100 meters. But
what's the kick like compared to the 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭?
I mean, the 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 is going to have, that 308 round is going to have a lot more kick. But this is pretty good kick, but it's a heavy shotgun, so that kind of limits a little bit of the kick. So the recoil on this is pretty good. It's manageable. That's what it's built for. And this is an S-stack side saddle here.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you can have like multiple of these and have them in your pocket, or these also fit AR mag pouches, which is really convenient.
Is that aftermarket stock?
This comes with it. So,
okay.
It's I prefer like a regular standard shotgun stock. I mean, that's what I've done the majority of shooting shotguns in my time. But the pistol grip, it looks cool, but I prefer just like the regular kind of thing.
Oh yeah, like the rifle, I guess.
Yeah, standard stock where just comes back and it's not a pistol grip. But
have you seen the Shockwave? It's like it's not a shotgun. It's not a pistol. Like legally, it's like a firearm. That's what it's classed under.
A Shockwave.
A Shockwave.
You know who makes it?
It's a shorty. I'll stick it up on the video. Oh, this isn't my phone.
I also got like a bigger. This is for the cycling the action. This is like the one that comes with is a little bit smaller. I got this tab here for releasing it as well. Instead of just a little button. That's kind of annoying what it comes with. But so that's obviously an upgrade. The sight. This is an upgrade. That's an upgrade. This handguard's an upgrade. Handguard was expensive. And the light in this. But
how many rounds does it hold in the tube?
Holds 5. So you can have 1 in the chamber, 5 in the tube. So no pump. You just pull the trigger and you let the fun begin. So yeah. I mean, it actually like functions a lot like an AR. I mean, this is the way it handles. So it's really really comfortable to hold it.
Oh, see that puppy?
Yeah, man.
Oof, yeah, she hefty. Really cool. Damn.
Yeah.
Is this what you had when you were in the force?
No, they don't. They don't have the budget for that. No, you just use Remington 870s in RCMP.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great gun too.
I got to show you the Shockwave. I'll pop that up on the.
All right. I think I heard of it before. Maybe I just blanking on.
I feel like it's a. Let's see here. Morelli? Is that a shotgun name? Or Merrill?
Not sure. Shockwave.
Mossberg.
Sounds like close. Oh, okay, yeah. Is that like a nightstick?
Oh, thing? Dude, it's ridiculous. It's just there's no stock. You just hold that thing in your hands.
Yep.
That can't be practical.
No, it is. Yeah, like it's definitely harder to shoot, and the recoil is more intense for sure. Like you can see him shooting that, and that recoil is coming right back. But really, I was actually considering buying one of those recently because they look cool as fuck.
They're really cool looking.
Yeah.
It feel like your hands would snap off.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great fucking compact shotgun, man. I love that thing.
Is that legal in Canada?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sexy little guns.
Yeah. There's a bunch of places sell them online. Place out of Red Deer sells them. Lots of different places, but yeah, they just look so fucking cool. Hey, like
very low profile.
They look like something like Terminator or Arnold Schwarzenegger would have in like one hand, you know?
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, it's like it's a nice bag gun. Like if you're going like hiking somewhere crazy and you're concerned of bears or something like that, that's just a little thing you can have in your bag. I can yank that out and say what's up to that bear or gorilla. Gorillas are really, they're in the zeitgeist right now of like, how many people it would take to fight a gorilla.
That's right, yeah.
1 versus 100 dudes, but if you had one of those, I mean, you're laughing.
I think 10 guys could take 10 trained guys could take a gorilla.
I think like 10 Brock Lesnar's.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just like the ears and
the
eyes.
They have fangs too, right?
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, you might have to try to choke them, but I mean their necks are like 30 inches. So how do you choke that? And then if you wrap your arms around them, is it just going to like snap your arm and like take a bite out of it, chomp it?
Yeah, that's true. But he could also use you to beat other guys. Which is a fucking issue
for sure. And they got big, big dump truck booties on them.
Yeah,
too. Because like, could you leg
wieners, but
big
booties?
They had like the smallest wieners.
Yeah,
which is like
it's like a little tiny.
Yeah, chimpanzees have bigger ones than they do. But they just don't need big horns.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because they're so jacked.
Yeah.
That's my understanding is from the research I've done on these animals in the past. That
women like the muscles more than the
yeah, for sure.
When I was a kid, I read this story, and it was about this guy was in Alberta camping, and a bear, like he was at his fire, and a bear came up and just started fucking biting him, and he ended up on the bear's back. So he bit the bear's ear, and like bit the tip of it off, and the bear ran away.
Yeah.
And he survived it. And since then, I'm like...
Yeah. You got to get crazy.
You got to get, like, the ears, the eyes.
You got to act like more of an animal than they are. Right?
That's right.
You got to get...
Fucking go psycho, you know? Yeah. Stick your fucking thumbs in their ass.
Yeah, the scary thing about bears is that they're, they're not, like, predators as in, like, solely eating meat. So... unless it's like a polar bear. So when they start eating you, they just kind of eat you wherever their nose goes. And I think their nose goes right to your butt, right? Like ass a dog. First. So they eat you ass first.
Still
eat
alive,
you
just
yeah.
Man, that would be a fucking terrible way to go.
You just have this impossible amount of fur and mass on top of you, and
fuck.
Terrible way to go. Terrible. There's a documentary called Grizzly Man. Have you ever watched that?
I did.
Yeah, Rogan talks about it.
Yeah, he went through it.
And I watched it a long time ago, and that guy went out hard way to go, And I think Mr. Chocolate or something, one of these bears that he was following around in the Alaskan like bush, like
Chocolate.
Yeah, he had names for all these bears, and one night Mr. Chocolate just comes in the tent and decides he wants a late night snack, and they had this video recorder on recording it, but I think the lens cap was on, so you just had the audio of it. Then Werner Herzog, the documentary, he listens to it in the documentary, and he essentially hears like the death throes of this guy, right? And you can see him listening to it, and whoever the Grizzly Man's next of kin was that had possession of the tape, and she hadn't listened to it, he like holds her hand and he's like, "You must destroy this. Never listen to this." And she's like, "Fuck," like fuck. Like, so he was just being eaten alive by Mr. Chocolate, and And that was all she wrote.
Oh man. Well, the whole, like, this fox is with them the whole time.
Yeah.
The fox is like, get the fuck out of here. Like, come with me,
Yeah. And he was like, mad at the fox too. Like, the fox kept stealing his hat, and then he was like getting like seriously like upset with this fox, but I mean, he was an incredible guy, like, with all things considered. But like, I heard people saying like the amount of time that he spent out there, like, was kind of unmatched.
Yeah.
And he has like unmatched like video footage of these animals as well. It's just that when you play with fire that long, and those, you get to a certain time of year when these things are desperate for a snack, it's a matter of time.
Like, people, especially bears and lions, and like, you see guys, they're like, oh, I live with tigers sometimes, and they're fucking petting them down. It's like, they can kill you, and they probably will,
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the difference between like a tiger and a bear. Like, a tiger will just latch you around the neck, and and you go out quick, hopefully. You like think about how quick you can go out from like a strangle in jiu-jitsu. Big old tiger grabs you around the neck, you're out.
Yeah, wolves are the same. They'll kill you before they eat you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're used to killing stuff, and they know the risks of leaving something like partially alive, right?
Yeah.
Because like a wild animal gets, like, say they're killing like an antelope or something, an antelope like bucks or kicks, and then all of a sudden they got a big hole in their body from like a horn or a hoof or something like that. That can be the end of them as well, right? So they know they gotta take that thing out right away. But a big old bear, it's like,
doesn't matter.
I'm so huge and jacked. It doesn't like.
Well, they fucking eat moose like that.
Yeah.
They'll like just eat a moose, while it's still alive and kicking.
And I don't think people realize how fucking fast those things are too.
They're terrifying.
They move through woods like a cannonball, like thick brush. They're like.
And there's videos of them chasing a truck.
Yeah.
And it's like flying.
Yeah.
They're real life monsters. Like, they're not your buddy.
No. Yeah. It's just like the people will watch like, a Disney movie and think these cuddly animals are, you just got to be nice to them and be one with nature, and they accept you into their world. It's not how the world works. Everything in the world eats each other with their faces, right?
That's right.
Or like, they kill each other with their faces. I mean, so.
Well, I find like today with Roman, I took him to the dog park, and he's afraid to get out of the truck. So I had to like pull him out, and I was in a rush. So I just kind of yanked the thing, went to grab him, and he growled a bit.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, no, like, you're not, you don't do this shit.
Yeah.
But like, he still got some animal in there.
Right.
And
definitely.
Wild animals, they don't have any domestication.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they'll just fucking eat you if they're hungry.
Yeah.
You can pet me on the head, but I'm going to eat you when you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Yeah. They say, like, how do you handle like a black bear? A black bear, like, you get large and you like, try to intimidate and get the run away. And a grizzly bear, you're not intimidated. It's just the grizzly bear will just see that as like a challenge. And so you're supposed to get in the fetal position
and play dead
and just hope that this thing doesn't fucking eat you alive. Fuck that.
Bring a big plate and just lie on it. Yeah. Fuck that shit, man.
Like that dude in the Olympics, that blue dude in the Olympics. You remember that opening ceremony?
Oh yeah.
This weird Smurf guy, and he was like laying on like a platter. It was very weird. Yeah.
That whole thing was like
weird.
It was like Space 2001 or something. It was like a Kubrick film.
Yeah.
It's like the Last Supper.
There was a message being sent. I don't know what the message was, but
I think it was "Don't watch the Olympics."
Yeah, that's
the whole thing was fucking
right.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a turnoff. It was so insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually the Olympics the hosting country will like show you their culture and like their history through like some kind of a dance or, play, whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like French history to me. I don't know. Like
the fuck is going on in France?
Yeah. Some blue weird guy, like Smurf with like little tethered underwear on. Like very sexual.
Yeah. I remember watching it and I was waiting for an explanation of what they were going for, but there wasn't really anything.
I think people are still waiting for one.